In another round of musical chairs in Nelson Mandela Bay, the city's mayor, Gary van Niekerk, and his deputy, Babalwa Lobishe, both resigned and then they swapped roles. The resignations were announced in council yesterday before the ANC's Lobishe was elected to be the new mayor. She becomes the fourth mayor, by the way, in 3 years. Van Niekerk is now the deputy mayor after serving for 18 months. His party, the National Alliance, is in coalition with the ANC, the EFF, and a few other smaller parties. The former mayor joins us now for more. Good morning to you, Deputy Mayor. On a lighter note, does Deputy Mayor sound strange to you? You've been mayor for 18 months.
Man, yesterday in council when they called executive mayor, I still stood up or I looked if they're addressing me, but sadly they were not addressing me.
Okay. Well, look, on a serious note and from a public standpoint, Gary, this all sounds very weird. You both resign and then you swap roles. We know that you knew this was coming because we've had signals from various leaders, including ANC Provincial Chair and Premier Oscar Mabuyane. But tell us about the conversation you had that first informed you that you would have to make way. Why did they ask you to make way?
It was an instruction that came from national government, the ANC's NEC. And it came to province, and province told the REC of the ANC, and they wanted to lead in wherever they have the most seats, and that's certainly the case here in Nelson Mandela Bay. And when that request came, all I asked is that they speak to us as a coalition, to each coalition partner that's in our current coalition. And we had no issue. I never campaigned when this to become the mayor. And I wasn't going to burn the house down. I wasn't going to go to court like my two predecessors done. I fought for political stability. My leadership was required at the time to bring political stability to Nelson Mandela Bay. And now that they say they've got their house in order, they're ready to lead and they want to lead. And after speaking to all the coalition partners, we are happy. And today we're going to announce the mayoral committee.
So you didn't feel used or felt like you were a placeholder mayor?
Not at all. Like I said, 18 months is a long time to be a placeholder. I would have liked to have seen the term through to 2026, but I'm still here. I'm still a councillor. I'm still a part of the Troika. I'm still the deputy executive mayor with big responsibilities. And the way forward, I've always worked well with Babalwa Lobishe, Councillor Babalwa Lobishe, and I will continue to support the residents of Nelson Mandela Bay. Have suffered long enough over the last 10, 15 years due to political instability, and I wasn't going to add to that.
I mean, it's interesting for me, Gary, and one can appreciate your political generosity, I suppose, in this moment. But Mayor Lobishe isn't speaking highly of your performance. She spoke to our channel last night. I want to play you a bite, and then I want to share with you what else she said to other media outlets. Take a listen to this.
We are inheriting an administration today that has a lot of ills, which emanate from years of maladministration.
All right, so there was that, and then also told the media that there wasn't much accountability. We said, let's take the reins to be able to account better to our people. The National Alliance leader had the executive power to call upon every mayoral committee member to account for the work they are doing, which they found at some point you were not forthcoming with. Now that we are taking the reins, we want to make sure there is accountability and deliver quality services, that there is a smooth transition. Honestly, Deputy Mayor, does that sound like someone who thought you were an effective mayor?
Look, when she refers to years of maladministration, we're talking about the last 4, 5, not even more than that, 10 years. If you look at the number of mayors we've had in the last 10 to 15 years, how many city managers we've had in the last 10 to 15 years. If you look at how many acting executive directors we have currently, we're in the process of employing at least 3 We've got 7 acting executive directors. So we were in the process of bringing stability to the metro. If you look at what the National Treasury has said to us over the last year, we've got a clean audit recently as well. The National Treasury has said we finally do have political stability. We don't have the administrative stability yet, and that is why we asked provincial government to come in and second someone to our metro, because we suspended our city manager due to the fact that she was arrested. We were going to lose more grant funding as a result of that, and that was a strict instruction given to us by the Minister of Finance. But in terms of any kind of fighting between myself or ill talking, now I think we mustn't quote the new executive mayor out of context. Certainly things will be said that may sound like it's directed at myself, but knowing her and knowing our relationship, it's certainly not the case.
Okay, so she's not talking about you. She's talking about a time preceding your time in office then.
Correct. We work very, very closely together, and we had our challenges. She's very much aware of the challenges that we've had and the frustrations that we've had over the last year and a half while she was the deputy executive mayor. And I'll be there to support her, and that's starting today. Going out, being on the ground, making sure that we deliver basic services to our residents of Nelson Mandela Bay.
All right, talking about services, I mean, you know better than many of us in the country who don't live in the Eastern Cape, problems of service delivery, including water provision and a host of other issues also related around to issues of infrastructure. How many residents do you service in Nelson Mandela Bay, Deputy Mayor, and what can they expect then if, as you say, that the last 18 months had nothing to do with the preceding decade of maladministration and dysfunction? One would assume then that the changes and proper service delivery are on the horizon. So how many residents in NMB are we talking about, and what can they expect in the immediate and to medium term?
Look, we've got 1.3 million residents in Nelson Mandela Bay. We're the biggest metro in the Eastern Cape province. But like I said, we've just recently appointed the new acting city manager, Mr. Mandela George, and we've signed performance agreements with all the directors, the EDs, and we will certainly be holding them accountable. We'll be holding the city manager accountable, and we'll be reporting to Cocter directly. Cocter doesn't take lightly to the fact that we haven't performed well in terms of our grant spending over the last few years. We've returned hundreds of millions of rands back to the national fiscus, and that's criminal if you look at what the state of the metro is. And but if you come to our metro now, you'll see the improvement. Our lights are on, street lights are working, our potholes are being filled, our dump sites, illegal dump sites, the city is being cleaned up. And yes, that's what the residents can expect over the next year and a half while this administration is in charge.
All right, and you're confident you're going to stay in the role, or do you think it's likely there'll be another change even when it comes to your position?
No. We're taking this to 2026, definitely. We're taking this to 2026. Like I said, the residents of Nelson Mandela Bay have suffered enough political instability. We're all about political stability, and we're taking this 18 months approximately to the next local government elections. And I'll want to ensure that, or rather reassure the residents of Nelson Mandela Bay, this is the administration that will take them to the next elections, and they will be receiving basic service delivery from this administration.
Deputy Mayor Gary van Niekerk will watch this space with great interest. Thank you for your time this morning.